我说我有点愧疚，我无法挽留。
That is not Superman, that is just Chinese rebar steel at its finest quality. This video is exposing the side of China that no matter how many times I show Speed live streams, they don't dare to show you to the Western audience watching his live stream. And it's also the side of China where I think is more representative of the typical experience. Now, of course, there are people who live in the cities and enjoy mega luxury lives, but there's also China, the other side, which even despite 50 years of economic leap and enjoying the benefits of capitalism, was still left behind. So we're going to talk about that side of China. Now, of course, they don't want you to see things like tofu drag. You know, you got a big windy situation, gone with the wind. In China, to this day, new developments are still employing tofu drag techniques to cut costs, to cut corners, and of course to pocket the extra money. Just see what happened in Thailand recently. That is a classic prime example of tofu drag construction. Like pedestrian walk and road splitting, part of the building base hollowing out.
有的地方往下塌陷，已经黑洞洞的，深不见底。哎呦我的妈！再往前走两步，感觉这行人道和机动车道实现了真正的人车分离。哎呦我的妈！
New tiles turning out to just be hollow sheets stuck together. Bathroom tiles, more brittle than crackers. These are some of the new developments like I mentioned, and these are really new videos too. You also have this waking up and your ceiling is gone the next day.
先把手指掏出来拍个朋友圈。
And before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel as we have new videos on China every single week. And you also don't want to miss our shorts where we do a lot of quick but fun, also interesting stories about China. Definitely click the subscribe button so you never miss any of the new videos. This is a video of a homeowner being invaded by a demolition team. When Chinese homeowners refuse to give up their property for gentrification, this type of stuff happens, violence. Now, according to Chinese bots, anti-China propaganda, 1.6 billion spent, all wasted effort, just because one person went to China to live stream, or that China's not backwards anymore. Come on, like nobody's thinking China's been backwards because you spend all your money on infrastructure to look like what China's in 2075 or 2055, whatever they use. But what has stayed the same is the moral standards and the fact that human beings are still suffering. Yeah, that has not changed, even despite all your buildings look like they're from the future now. Food safety is still a problem in China. Hey, at least that mouse is happy. You have things like fake public awareness propaganda shoots. Yeah, these things are just being manufactured and clearly they don't care. Rather than saying that the Americans are trying to suppress China's growth by making up propaganda against it, why not just, stop hiding the fact that half of China is really still being used as sort of the energy drain for the other half to grow? For example, in this video, the boy is picking trash. The reason is he's been living with his grandma. His dad committed Sudoku, his mom remarried, and now he is basically has to drop out of school and to pick trash for a living. The man who filmed the video ended up bringing him to a restaurant for a meal and then bringing him to buy a new pair of shoes. This type of stuff, you never see coverage on Chinese state media. And when you do put it up on social media in China, it gets censored because it doesn't fit the image of a great, glorious revitalization of China. Now, China may seem like it's the future when you go to these big cities, but that's not how really things work. Because look, half of China, the reality is that they're still dealing with some of the most fundamental issues like food safety, like education, and even living is a big problem too. It goes into some of the detailed stuff in life, right? Like this video here, this is a battery bank. It doesn't work. Why? Because they're still faking what's inside. They put granite tiles inside the battery bank. Of course it's not going to work, but they're faking everything. What I'm trying to highlight is the fact that despite China looking nice on the outside, the inside is very ugly. And that has not changed for the past 30, 40 years, no matter how beautiful the outside looks, right? There's a reason why people get plastic surgeries, but can plastic surgeries fix your insides? This is the scene of a dormitory of tea harvest workers. They're crammed into a room where you see dozens of bunk beds. And this is from April 1st in Zhejiang province. And we see videos of the tea workers having just water-boiled noodles, no sauce, no seasoning, nothing like that. And more than a dozen of people are crowded into a single room, and that workers essentially are fighting over food and scrambling for it because otherwise some of the later ones you might not even be able to eat. And now later the videos from this account all got deleted because again, it doesn't paint the great glorious vision of China. This is not an isolated case. This is another video from a different tea harvest site. It's just a bunch of mattresses next to each other. And this is from another work dorm, not tea harvest, but different ones.
看看，在朝正业不正业没出来，哎呀，住的又不累，住的多少人？你说，你瞧来，算。
And here's a video from March 29th in the province of Anhui, the dormitory environment of Chengde Mining Company. So this is now a mining company. 100 workers crowded in a small shack. I don't know what China's going through, but it seems like it's their concentration camp core.
真的是不可想象。才1年多的时间吧，这个商场曾经人山人海。我今天说礼拜天来看买双鞋子，对吧？结果你们看看，全部是转让，已经全部关门了。有网友说我上一个视频是不是去的人家商场已经没有开了的商场？不是的，现在我已经进第2家商场，大家看一下。这真的是不可思议，这都是在营业的。
And China's economy is also not doing so hot. Here we see videos of streets in Beijing, stores closing their doors in an afternoon.
其实曾经也开了不少店的，只不过现在都已经关门了。但是现在好像基本上都已经关门了，之前应该都是服装店。
Even the famous bun shop that Xi Jinping once visited has closed its doors. Qingfeng Bao has shut its operations, and it's a tragic day. But it's also a reality in China because a lot of the economy has just never recovered since COVID, where the rest of the world has. Like in the United States, a few years ago, there were a lot of shops closed, and now operations back, right? You had job growth, and despite the stuff with the tariffs and the stock market, we're still seeing that it's doing much better. Whereas China really has not gotten back on its feet, but they're still trying to pretend like it has. And that's the story of China. They're always pretending. No homelessness in China? Well, here is a train station in Qingdao, Shandong province, and the caption says, "Glorious, prosperous society, the world's your oyster." Later, that post got deleted because, again, you can't be saying these things in a society where it's trying to pretend to be a first world country that is pretending to be advanced, right? You can't have homelessness. Doomsayers are like the ultimate enemy, arch enemy of the CCP, because every time, it's the same with North Korea, right? It's like, you're always prosperous, no matter what happens to the country. Now let's move on to daily living. So this high school student interviewed a roadside sanitation worker. She works about 15 hours a day, earning 3,000 yuan a month. which is about $400 a month, and she has no days off. The high school student then used the sanitation worker's hourly wage of 8.2 yuan, which again is very little, like $1, to test the purchasing power at a local supermarket. What he bought was half pound of pork tenderloin, an egg, a handful of bean sprouts, and he joked that the purchasing power is so strong. We previously did this experiment ourselves, right? And similar videos have popped up in China, like this one here from today. This is April 6th in Chengdu, Sichuan province. And a man used about 5 yuan hourly wage, which is about 70 cents or so. Again, it's a sanitation worker's hourly wage to buy an egg, about 100 grams of rice, a handful of meat, and a vegetable leaf. He also bought 8 ounces of milk, which this is all at a supermarket. Meanwhile, you have this video, which is from a Chinese student in Germany. He used the hourly wage. He spent about 14 euros, but the hourly wage is about 13 euros. He bought 300 grams of Shanghai green, 0.7 kilograms of bananas, handful of celery, a loaf of bread, 0.4 kilograms of beef, 400 grams of beef, 400 grams of chicken gizzards, and other items. So you see that the hourly wage in China is impossible to live off of, right? And for a lot of these workers who are making lower minimum wage, less than minimum wage actually, they're not able to afford this. We're not talking about like Becky from New York City working at Starbucks making $2,400 and she can't afford to go out on a Friday night type of situation. We're literally talking about people who can't afford to eat. And these are not homeless or jobless people. These are working people. Videos like this of workers packing onions. One worker says she's 70 years old, works 10 hours a day, earns about 10 yuan per hour. Another worker says she's 75 years old, no pension, only receives about 80 yuan in government subsidies. So that's like about $10. And after the interview, the woman was so sad that she cried, saying that she starts work at 4 a.m. only to earn 100 yuan, which again is about $11 or so. So the China experience is people working overtime in order to make a normal wage. It's people being underpaid for work. It's people experiencing fake and experiencing tofu drag. But all of this must be hidden behind the beautiful makeup that is, oh wow, we got neon lights in the city streets. We have a high-speed train. We have great internet. We have people who are able to see a wonderful concerts in China. Because, nothing matters more than to show off those things, right? Except if you really compare that to other countries, the side that they don't want you to show have to be protected first before you can start worrying about the other side. But in China, it doesn't really matter because the other half is neglected while, well, even the people who are in the great half, right, that are living in the cities have problems like 996 and other sort of social issues that they have to deal with. So yeah, China is really just not a right place for people. Thanks for watching this episode of The Side of China They Don't Want You to See. If you enjoy the content, leave a like, comment below your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel.